Hello, and welcome to Ikebana with Flower Child Studio. I'm Ava, and I'm going to be your teacher. So today we're going to be going over the very first lesson in Sogetsu Ikebana, which is the basic upright design. And for that, we're going to be doing it in a moribana style. So a moribana style is you're using a soibon, and our mechanic, which is already in and the water is filled in, is going to be our kenzans. So in Western design, they're called needlepoint frogs, but in Ikebana, they are called kenzans. And with this, it's a three-dimensional asymmetrical design. And we're going to be starting with our kenzan, and it's going to be in position 1 in your soibon, which that's in the front left corner. So here it is here, and it's right up in the front left. Also in design, sometimes it's nice to have a little rag just to dry your hands out. Okay, so there's 3 main lines in Sogetsu: Shin, Soi, and Hakai. And we're going to be starting off with our Shin. That's our first main line. And that's going to be our tallest line. So because it's the tallest, I'm going to go with, I have a taller branch here. I have some other branches, but I'm going to save those since this is going to be the tallest. And how you measure the tallest branch, or shin, is you go by, I don't go from the very, very tippy top. I go a little bit in, and you measure the width of the container plus the height. So this is about the height. So this right here is the size of our soibon. This is the height and the width combined. And from there, you're going to add 1/2. So 1/2 of this amount. So, it doesn't have to be exact, but just kind of eyeball it. So this is about half. And so then you're going to add that. So right here, this is going to be from here up. This is going to be our shin. And so I'm just going to start. I'm going to do just one cut to get this out of the way. With Ikebana, we always cut our stems underwater. That helps prolong the life of the material. And with branch material, you're always going to want to cut your stems at an angle. So if this is flat, this is at an angle. So we're going to want to be cutting this at an angle. And it's going to be, we're going to cut it down to here because that was the size. So just kind of get this out of the way and then go here and cut it underwater. Give it a few cuts. And with this branch, as you can see, it has like a lot of little side branches. I'm just gonna cut some of those off just to open up the space a little bit. So just cut, you don't have to cut all of them, but just kind of, as you can see, even doing that, it opened it up. So we just wanna open it up because we wanna be able, it's a main line, we wanna be able to see the main line. So just take a few out. Few more. And maybe this is a little bit heavy up at the top, so just kind of do the same up at the top. Just take a few out. You don't have to take all of them. Just take a few. Like I said, that's just opening it up so we can see our main line. All right, so we have it cut at an angle, and we're going to be wanting to put this one in the back of our kenzan. So if this is the kenzan, if you're looking at it head on, you're going to want to put it in the back because you're going to be forming a triangle shape with the 3 main lines. So this is going to go in the back. And so you're just going to put it in the kenzan. Okay, so it's in. And our first main line is going to be 10 to 15 degrees off center and 10 to 15 degrees forward towards the left. So here's about 10 to 15 forward and 10 to 15 to the left. So not really too much. And there we go. So that's our first main line. This is our shin. I'm just going to take this one out too. Okay, so here's our shin. And our next main line is going to be our soi. So, and the soi, how you figure out the measurement for this line is it's going to be 3/4 of our shin. So kind of holding up next to it, I kind of get a rough idea, just kind of there again, cut some of it off. So this is pretty much the same height. So I need to cut this down. So cutting it down. So almost there. So I'm just going to cut the rest underwater in our water bowl. So that's about 3/4. And then what you're going to want to do, the next main line, it's going to be 45 degrees off center. So 45 degrees off center to the left and 45 degrees forward. So I put it into our kenzan and then I bring it forward like that. So here's our shin, here's our soi, and our next main line is going to be our hakai. So usually with the Hakai, you're going to be using a flower. So it's 2 branch material and then 1 flower. So, and how you figure out the height for the Hakai is it's going to be 3/4 of our soy. This is the first main that we, our shin, which we measured, and then 3/4 and then 3/4 again. So, and when you're cutting flowers to put into a kenzan, you're gonna wanna cut them flat. So you're gonna cut our branches, you cut them at an angle, but flower material, it likes to be cut, it stays better in the kenzan when you cut it flat. So we're gonna wanna do that. So about 3/4. So that's almost like right there, perfect. So just give it a couple extra cuts underwater. And then you're gonna wanna put it into the kenzan. I always say don't put it like straight up and down. I kind of put it at a little bit of an angle and I put it in. And then you're gonna wanna bring it forward and it's gonna be going 75 degrees, but in the opposite direction. So it's 75 degrees off center and 75 degrees forward. So just kind of get it in. And I always say like, just guide it into place. Because 75, that is a pretty, bold angle. So just like that, get that one there. Okay, so here's our shin, here's our soy, and then here's our Hakai. And just with our soy, I'm just gonna take there again, a couple of these out just to open up the line. You don't have to take all of them, just take a few. There again, it just helps open it up because these are our main lines, so we want to be able to see the line. So, okay, so here are our main lines. So all the main lines, they all have names. After that, it's just jushis. So all the extra fillers are all called jushi. So we're gonna start with our jushi. It's a good thing to remember with a jushi is you don't really want them to ever get to be as tall as the 3 main lines because you don't want to confuse which one's a Hakai, which one's a soy. So you don't want them to be too long. And again, you're just gonna wanna cut the stem underwater. And I always like, just to remind myself, I like to add a backwards facing jushi in kind of first. And the reason you want to have the backwards facing jushi is because this is a 3-dimensional arrangement. And if you didn't put anything coming back, the arrangement would just stop right here. And we don't want it to stop. We want it to move from the front all the way to the back. It helps to keep the motion and the dimension going all the way through the arrangement. And I have some extra branch material over here, so I'm gonna use some of that. Okay, and just add some extra jushi in. Like I said, it doesn't have to all be, you don't want it to all be the same height. You want to have some variation with your jushi as well. So. And part of, adding the jushi in, part of it is you are covering the kenzan because you don't want to be able to completely, see it. So you do want to cover it to some degree. But I say that, but at the same time, you don't want to be too worried about covering it to the point where it, looks like a little forest. We're not trying to that's not the whole intention of adding in the jushis. It's part of the design and part of covering the mechanic, but don't worry about it too much. You just want to I like to add it in a little bit, and then we'll work on our focal point with the rest of our flower material. So like I said, don't worry about it too much. So, and also as you're adding the jushi in, it's nice, to have it going just there again, not just like straight up and down, kind of have it going off to the sides as well. And with this one, I'm having a little trouble. It doesn't want to go in because the branch is a little too skinny and it's going in between the needles. Well, there it'll stay. But if you ever come across that, what you can do is I just took a little piece off of the flower stem that I cut and you can just put it in to the flower stem like that. And then this is your mechanic and it'll stay into the kenzan. So that makes it easy. Okay. So I'm gonna add just a few more little jushis in before I put in our flowers. So a few more. Okay, so just in the front here. Okay, so now we're going to want to start adding our flowers in. So, and that'll be our focal point. And really when you're doing these beginning lessons, you really don't need a lot of flower material because really the arrangement itself, it's really meant to be viewed from the front. So this is the front of the arrangement and I'm standing, this is the back of the arrangement. So, really, even kind of filling in the sides a lot, it's meant to be viewed from the front. So you really only need about 3 flowers, especially these are larger. So you don't need any more than that. So we're just going to be using three flowers today. And the flowers are also the focal point flowers are also the jushi. And the same with the flowers as with the branch. You don't want any of the flowers to be the same height as your hakai. Because these two right here, this is about almost the same height. So if I were to put this here, these two are competing with each other, and you don't want your focal flowers to be competing with your hakai. So we're going to cut this down. Cut it. Okay. And then what we're going to do, we're going to put it in the front. So again, kind of put it in, not quite 100% up, straight up, and then you're going to want to bring it forward. So with Ikebana, it's not, you just don't stick everything in and that's the end of your arrangement. It's a little bit more thoughtful as you're putting your flowers in. So it's not just straight up and down, it's coming forward. There's dimension to it. And the same with this one. You don't want these 2 flowers. These two, they're at the same height. So we don't want that. So we're going to cut this down. So it's going to be shorter. Okay. And we're just going to want to put that in like that. And again, not straight up and down, kind of a bit of an angle. So at this point, really, like we have, we're starting to fill it in. I'm going to add some more juice in. Okay. Because really with Ikebana, what's nice about it is you don't really need a ton of material. So that's the nice part. It's a beautiful arrangement, but it's not just like packed in with flowers. So let me get some more, just a little bit longer pieces. And also when you're filling in your jushi and you're putting it on this side, which is over like by where the water is, you don't want something that's too long. Like this stem, it's actually taller than our hakai. So this would be too long. And if you were to put this on this side, it's really distracting from the rest of the arrangement. So you can put, a little bit longer, but you don't want it coming out and it's really just distracting from the whole arrangement. It's distracting from the water. It's distracting from the flowers. And so we don't want that. So I'm going to cut this shorter. And it's nice to have it to come, by the water, but don't have it bothering the water, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm just gonna add a few more in, just there again, to kind of cover it. And, not just to cover, but to fill in the rest of the arrangement. So, okay, so I think we're just about done here. So let me just move this out of the way. So here is our basic upright, and here's our shin, our soy hakai. Here is our focal area, our focal point, and then here's the rest of our jushi. This is the arrangement for today, and please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And also, if you're here in the San Francisco Bay Area, please come and visit us. We're at Flower Child Studio here in San Francisco. Thank you very much.